Good morning, everyone. It's very good to see you again. I hope you had a good rest of the day after we were with Satish yesterday. And it's a great pleasure to be with him and to be with all of you again. And today we're going to be talking about Soil Soul Society, which is also the name of one of Satish's book, also available in Portuguese for those who are curious to read more. And Satish will be, like I said, talking about Soil Soul Society, and then after he finishes, we're going to open for questions. So if you have questions, write them down, and then we're going to have the chance to ask him directly. So Satish, it's really great to have you again with us.
Thank you.
Welcome to the space, and feel free to
Okay,
join us.
thank you. It is a great pleasure to be connected with my Brazilian friends. And Brazil is one of the most wonderful country supporting Schumacher College. And many Brazilian friends have come to Schumacher College to attend our courses. And the Escola Schumacher in Brazil is a wonderful organization, and I hope you can all support it. I hope that one day Schumacher Brazil can have its own property, own garden and house where you can have permanent courses regularly like Schumacher College in England. And at Schumacher College in England, now we are purchasing a new property and we have raised lots of money already. So that's my hope. Soil Soul Society, today's topic. There are always trinities which encapsulate the essence of a particular movement. The French Revolution had a trinity. It was égalité, liberté, fraternité. But that was a very political trinity, and it did not have any kind of mention of personal spiritual dimension or ecological, environmental, and natural dimension. Then there is a Christian Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And that's also good Trinity, but I always say to my Christian friends, Father, but what about the mother? And Son, what about the daughter? Mary Magdalene is not mentioned. And Holy Spirit, but also we have to have a holy matter. But matter is also sacred. Nature is sacred. And then there are many other trinities. So I wanted to find a trinity for our time, which is holistic, inclusive, and has a kind of ecological, spiritual, social dimensions. And so I came up with this trinity for our time, a new trinity for our time, which is more holistic. So soil represents natural world, ecological world. So we talked about ecology yesterday. So the ecological world view is in soil. The soil represents, without the soil, nothing can happen. Our trees come from the soil. Our human body comes from the soil. Our food comes from the soil. Water is held on the soil. The fire is held on the soil. There's no soil, there's no life. But nobody talks about the soil. If you take all your newspapers, hardly any mention of soil. If you take your radio, television, no mention of soil. If you take your political debate in your parliament, in your government, hardly anybody talks about soil. In British Parliament, they have all debate, but nothing about soil. And I think without the soil, there's no life. The word for soil in Latin is humus, Humus, humus. And humus is the root, etymological root word for human. So human beings are truly and literally soil beings. We are made of soil. Our body is made of soil. Our food we eat is soil transformed. The clothes we wear are soil transformed into cotton or wool or silk. The houses we have All the wood you can see in the beam on the roof, they are all soil. So without soil, there is no life. So our first and foremost responsibility is to take care of the soil. And the people living in Sao Paulo or Rio de Janeiro or New York, Paris, London, Bombay, Beijing, they don't have any soil. I would like everybody, every school, every single school should have a garden. There should be no school where there's no garden. I mean, schools have swimming pools, schools have playing fields. They learn to play football. They learn to play some other games. They have playing fields, but no garden. So I would like to see every school having a garden. And children from age 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, they should learn to plant the seeds and see the miracle of nature, the miracle of soil. The soil, you put a seed in the soil, and that soil transforms that seed into a plant, into a tree, an apple tree, an oak tree, a tomato plant, a cucumber plant, a cauliflower, a cabbage, beans, peas, potatoes. Everything is turned into fruit and vegetables from that seed because of the soil. Soil transforms one potato you plant in the ground into 20 potatoes. Amazing. That miracle of nature should be experienced by our young students, young children. They don't have any idea of where the food is coming from. They think food is coming from the supermarket, packaged in a plastic. So, miracle of nature, transformative power of nature is to be experienced. And so we need to teach about soil in every school, and not only teach by books and kind of computers, but actual children planting the seed, watering the seed, and see the seed becoming a plant, and a plant becoming leaves, and coming out of the flowers, and the flowers becoming tomatoes and a kind of apples and mangoes. I mean, in Brazil, you have beautiful, delicious mangoes. But one seed you planted, that one seed has become a tree, mango tree, and the mango tree has hundreds of apples, and each apple has another new seed. That in Brazil, when I was speaking, I called it mangonomy. Not economy, but mangonomy. The mango is a great example of transformative power, the abundance and the regenerative power of mango. And so soil is a miracle, and soil has a transformative power. So we need to learn about soil. And if you don't have a garden, try to make a garden or find somebody's garden and volunteer yourself to go and work in a garden. Somebody old person may have a garden, or some neighbors may have a garden, or go out for the weekend out of Sao Paulo or Rio de Janeiro and be in the garden and touch the soil. Hands in the soil should be our primary concern. So soil is very, very important. We need to go back and touch the soil. All our computers, all our cars, all our television, all our shopping malls, all our roads, all our airports, all our train stations, everything is just secondary. The primary is soil. And so without the soil, all other things are just a kind of superfluous. So if you have soil, then everything is fine. Everything you can build on it. And soil must be without contamination, without any kind of poisonous. We put poison in the soil in the name of growing more food or quick food or something. We put fertilizers and pesticides and herbicide and chemicals in the soil. That's not good. I was in Japan recently. And in Japan, there is a very wonderful organization called Shumei. 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 I think they also have some office in Brazil. And the Shumei members, there are 40,000 members in Japan. And they are natural agricultural people. They grow everything without even compost. Never mind fertilizers and pesticides, herbicides. They don't even need. So nature knows best. Nature, And in the rainforest, you don't put any compost. In rainforest, you don't put any fertilizers. And how wonderful the rainforests grow, all the kind of trees and flowers and grasses and everything. And the mango trees and apple trees and everything, they grow. So nature knows best. Shumei, I was their guest, and we had a harvest festival, annual harvest festival, and they had a display of rice and sake and the vegetables, fruits, seeds. Everything was beautifully displayed, amazing. And there were 5,000 people in the audience. Can you imagine? 5,000 people in the great hall, and I spoke to them, and it was a great pleasure to be there. So, my friends, soil is not just about something to talk about. Soil is not just something to write about in my book like Soil Society. I would like you to touch the soil, put your hands in the soil, have a garden, even in the windows, boxes in the windows you can have and put some soil. You can make compost. Your kitchen waste should be put in a little box, and within 6 weeks that will become soil again. And then use that compost in your window box and make soil. So you can create soil. Your body is soil. Your food is soil. Your clothes are soil. So soil is so fundamental. So that's the first part of the Trinity. The second part of the Trinity is soul. Soil is external, outside us, and the soul is inside. Everything has a soul. Soil has soul. Trees have soul. Rivers have soul. Humans have soul. We think we are just body. Our modern education, scientific education, very materialistic. Materialist meaning only matter exists. There was a great scientist, philosopher in France called René Descartes, the Cartesian philosophy of dualism. And Descartes said that what cannot be measured does not exist. Soul does not exist because it cannot be measured. It cannot be touched. It is no. But this is the wrong. This is why we are facing such a big kind of problems in our world today, because there is no harmony. A harmony comes from the soul, your compassion, your kindness, your generosity, your love, your imagination, your creativity, your poetry, your music, your dance. All those things are born of the soul. Without soul, body is lifeless, dead body. Without soul, without spirit, without imagination, without all the qualities, the matter is quantity and the soul is quality. Everything has a quantity. Beautiful. I say a holy matter. Matter is sacred. Body is sacred. Soil is sacred. Trees are sacred. But trees have soul. And the soil has soul, and the bodies have soul. And so soul, we need to nurture, we need to nourish, we need to feed our soul as we feed our bodies. So what is the food for the soul? You have poetry. I read poetry every morning. I start my day by reading Tagore, Hafiz, Rumi, Shakespeare, many great poets, Wendell Berry, many great poets, Catherine Rain, many great poets I read, and that feeds my soul. And then also music is a food for the soul. If we listen to music, we are transcending, we are moving away from this ordinary existence, and we are going in a kind of transcendental world, a different world. So I think poetry and music is food for the soul. This is why all our churches have a music. All our great saints have a kind of songs, hymns, and a piano, and many other great musicians with violin and many others, just singing and chanting. So all the kind of great religious traditions have embraced music, but music is kind of food for the soul. So poetry, music, and many other similar, I would say even dance is a food for the soul. But sacred dance, not just a kind of entertainment dance, but in India, we have Shiva, who is a god of dance. And the whole universe is a dance of Shiva. So a kind of dance, if you go to a Muslim tradition, there is a called dervish dancing. And I was in Turkey, in Konya, which is a home of Rumi. And he started a school for dancing. And he said there are many, many paths to enlightenment, many, many, many paths to God. I have chosen the path of poetry, music, and dance. And so dervish dance, if you don't know the dervish dance, look it up. Dervish dance, it comes in Turkey, Konya, and they have schools in Europe, in America, and so there's a kind of transcendental, beautiful dance. And also in Indian temples, you have a kind of Bharatanatyam and many other forms of dance. In the temples, we have a dance. So music, poetry, dance, all these things are food for the soul. So every child, like I say, should have a garden. In every school, there should be a garden. Every school must teach children music, dance, poetry, not just science and mathematics and history and geography, and all these subjects are fine. But in addition to those subjects, every child should learn to read poetry. Every child should learn to sing a song. Every child should learn to dance. If you have two legs, you can dance. If you have two lips, you can sing. If you have a hand and a pen, you can write a poem. Everybody can do it. An artist is not a special kind of person, but every person is a special kind of artist. So we all have to be artists. And art is the food for the soul. An artist is not a special kind of person, but every person is a special kind of artist. And we all have to live like an artist. Art of living. We have to be the artist of our life. Art of living, art of cooking, art of gardening, art of speaking, art of everything. Everything has an art. And art means imagination. Art means creativity. Art means spontaneity. Art means poetry, music, dance, painting, all these things. All the great museums are full of art, but you just go as a spectator. But in churches, you have art. And Piero della Francesca in Italy was a religious artist. And if you go to Vatican, beautiful art. So art is a very beautiful way of feeding the soul. So I would like to see our schools and our universities and our business, everybody embracing the idea of feeding the soul. So soil, ecological and protected and beautifully kept and whole and organic, and the soul with art and music and poetry and dance and all that. And then comes to society. Society, we always think in our modern world that I'm an individual and I can do what I like. No relationship. And so we have become very isolated, very individualistic, separational. But we cannot exist without society. Just see how, your food, where it comes from. The farmers and gardeners grow your food. If there are no farmers and gardeners, there will be no food. Where do we get our language? If our schools did not teach, our teachers did not teach us and our children, there will be no knowledge, no language, no writing, no poetry. Our doctors, our nurses, they look after us. Our neighbors, we are made of social systems. We are social beings. But at the moment, we have become very individualistic. And we have become me, my success, my money, my job, my house, my husband, my wife, me, so ownership. In society, we have to move from the idea of ownership to relationship. And we have to say, I'm a member of a community. I'm a member of human society. And I am grateful that farmers produce food for me. Doctors look after my health. Teachers teach me. Poets write poetry for me. Musicians make music for me. I am blessed to have society which is giving me so much food for living, food for thought, food for my body, food for my soul. and without my teachers, spiritual teachers, I will not be very happy, and I will not be learning how to be kind, how to be compassionate, how to be loving, how to be joyful. All these things are learned from our great teachers. And so society, we have forgotten. We are always criticizing. Government is bad, business is bad, everything is bad, the parties, and we quarrel. We don't live in harmony with our own social structures, and we don't live in harmony with other people. So at the moment, the world is divided. You are a communist, you are a capitalist, you are Hindu, you are Muslim, you are Christian, you are Buddhist, and you are divided, divided, divided. I want to end the division. Diversity is not division. Nature promotes diversity. No two humans are same. No two trees are same. No two countries are same. And we should celebrate diversity. It's wonderful to have many religions, many languages, many cultures, many kind of political system, many kind of economic system, many different ways of cooking food, many different ways of understanding and speaking. Diversity is good, but at the moment we have turned our diversity into divisions and conflicts. Oh, you are Russian, you are our enemy. You are Chinese, you are communist. You are American, you are capitalist. You are Middle Eastern, you are Muslims. You are Christians. We are always discriminating against people who are not like us. And nobody's like us. Every human being is different. And so at the end, we end up in isolation and a division. So I would like this society idea is that we are all members of one humanity, one earth. Whole cosmos is our country. Whole planet earth is our home. Nature is our nationality. Love is our religion. And we are rooted in our community. And we love our community where we live and serve our community. And this way our community and cosmos come together. The intimate and the ultimate come together. The local and the global come together. This is a kind of big vision that we need under the title of society. So this is my new trinity. Soil, soul, society. We need to take care of our ecological and natural world. We are nature. We are not separate from nature, as I said yesterday when I was talking about ecology. And so we need to understand that we are soil and we are humus. Humans and humus are one. And then we have to say that soil is not just the external matter. Soil and human and everything has a soul, spirit, imagination, creativity, compassion, kindness, love. All those qualities are the inner qualities. As we need outer transformation, we need inner transformation. Outer and inner go together, like walking on two legs. Outer and inner go hand in hand together. So outer is the soil and inner is the soul. And then we are in relationship with other human beings. So when I went around the world, I went to Muslim countries and I said, you are Muslims? I love you. Then I went to Christian countries and I said, you are Christians? I love you. Then I went to communist countries, Soviet Union. I said, you are communist? I love you. Then I came to capitalist countries like Europe and America. I said, you are capitalist? I love you. I went to Japan, Buddhist. You are Buddhist? I love you. Love does not discriminate. Love does not say, I will love Hindus but not Muslims. I will love capitalists but not communists. I will love this but not that. This is not love. Love is unconditional. Love is for everybody. So that's the kind of idea of society, that we respect every human being, whoever you are, black, white, Christian, Muslim, Hindu, capitalist, communist, rich, poor, whoever you are a human being, and so I respect you. That's the idea of society. So soil, soul, society. This is a trinity for our time, and it's a holistic. Everything is in it. Nothing is left out. It's not like political trinity or social trinity or spiritual trinity. This is a holistic trinity where everything is connected, everything is related. So if we can bring that trinity together, then I think our world will be more peaceful and we can live in harmony with ourselves, we can live in harmony with nature, and we can live in harmony with all human beings. So that's the kind of principle of this new trinity for our time. And I would like in Brazil, to read my book, Soil Soul Society, and promote this idea of a holistic trinity and no division, no conflict, minimize conflict and maximize harmony. Brazil is a beautiful country and it has so much land, rainforests, indigenous cultures, so many wonderful things. When I come to Brazil, I'm so amazed, so inspired. But then when I see people fighting in the name of petty things and the media fighting with each other. So I think Brazil has to rise above these kind of petty things and embrace looking after nature, looking after our spiritual values and traditions, and looking after every human being. There should be nobody poor in Brazil. Brazil is such a beautiful country. No children should be left out. That's a society. So we have to we are social beings, and we are spiritual beings, and we are ecological beings. So soil is ecological being, and a soul is a spiritual being, and a society is a social being. If we can be three together, then we will be making a good progress, and we'll be very fulfilled and happy and harmonious and joyful. So that's, I offer you this trinity for soil, soul, society. Thank you.
Thank you, Satish. Beautiful to listen to you. We're going to open for questions now. So just a reminder, we're going to organize through the reaction buttons with the putting your hands up. So whoever wants to ask a question either in Portuguese, then we're going to translate, or directly in English, feel free.
Please ask any question you want to ask.
Well, go on, Rodrigo.
Hi, Satish. I just wanted to know that yesterday, for many times a day, I was meditating on your words, and it was burning my heart.
Thank you.
While you were talking, I made some questions over here. My question is, what does it mean to you to cultivate the soul of a place? And how does this manifest in the human relationship that this place sustains?
Okay. So, in order to cultivate soul, you need to accept the world as it is, without judgment, without criticism, without kind of being, this is good, this is bad, that kind of wrong and right and wrong. There was a great poet, Rumi, in Turkey, and I visited his home in Konya, and he said this, that in order to feed your soul and make your society better, you have to go beyond right and wrong. And there's a field beyond right and wrong. I meet you there. So I think we have to go beyond this judgmental, that I know I'm right, you are wrong. I judge you. Everybody has their own point of view. Everybody has their own truth. Everybody has their own perspective. Everybody has their own upbringing. Everyone has their own culture, their language, understanding. So we have to start to respect everybody. Only thing we need to have in common is do no harm. This is what Rumi said. Do no harm to other people. No harm to nature. No harm to animals. No harm to other people, whether you are communist, capitalist, a Hindu, Muslim, whoever you are. We do no harm to you. And then we accept you as you are. And then have a dialogue. And in the dialogue, you can communicate, you can understand each other, you can give your ideas, you can learn from them, you can teach them. So then dialogue, without judgment, you can make change, and you can progress, you can develop, and you can, like Mahatma Gandhi, had a dialogue with the British without killing anybody, without harming anybody. Like Nelson Mandela had a dialogue with the apartheid regime. Said, I'll be in jail and I will not harm anyone, but I will have a dialogue with you. And so Martin Luther King did the same thing. So there are examples where we can see how people, without hating white or without hating British, they change the system. Imperialism, colonialism, or whatever ism it is, that you can change, but change without violence, without harming anyone. That's the kind of main principle that I would like to suggest.
Thank you, Satish.
Thank you, Rodrigo, for your question. Gustavo, go ahead.
Hello, good morning. It's really a pleasure to be here. And I would like some advice on how to cultivate society, because I feel that nowadays we are all in this individualistic view, and I can say it for myself, and we don't even want to talk to the people anymore. We prefer to send a message, then call someone, and we are living in small places and compartmentalized places. We don't have this social contact anymore. So how do you cultivate society on your living, and what advices can you give to us?
Okay, that's a good question. You know, in the traditional societies, we had the word Sangha. The Indian word Sangha, Buddhist Sangha or Christian Sangha. Sangha means community. Community. So you and all of us need to have a community. So how do you form a community? You say, what is your interest, for example? Your interest in meditation? You can say, all right, let's get those people who want to meditation. And just hold for a second. Just the sun is coming, so I just put a little curtain down. Hold, 1 second. Yes. So you create a sangha, you create a community of meditators. We'll meet once a week, or we'll meet once a fortnight, or we meet once a month, whatever it suits you. So this way you create a community. Suppose you are a poet and you like poetry. So you can say, who is the other person who is a poet or likes poetry, wants to read poetry? Once a week or once a fortnight, we will meet and read poetry. Tagore or some Brazilian poets, or Shakespeare or William Blake. I mean, I know only British poets or English poets. So you can choose poetry, and I can get poetry sangha, poetry community. Or you're a dancer, can say, all right, once a week we should meet for dance, and let's have tea together, have a dance together. So music, something which is common in your interest, and find other people who have the same interest and create a community, and then have a tea together, have a kind of lunch together, and cook together for each other, or bring food. You bring rice, I bring the cake, you bring soup, I bring some vegetables, you bring some pudding, I bring some starter, something like that. So create a community of dancers, musicians, poets, meditators, ecologically minded people. Say, we are all interested in ecology, let's go for ecology. Or whatever your interest, create a sangha. That's the kind of way to create a community, rather than meeting online and only text and only messages on a kind of WhatsApp and computers and so on. Having a real, that's why Schumacher College is a community where people come and stay together, live together, they cook together, they garden together, they sing together, they meditate together. That's why we create a community. So community, you have to create. Don't wait for somebody else to invite you. You be the leader. And you say, I'm going to start. Who wants to come? And 5, 10, 15 people will come. And that's all you need.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Satish and Gustavo. Larissa?
Hi. I'll try to make it in English. So I'm seeing in this in the millennials, no, our like my age people like regretting to made because they made this choice of have a work that is more regenerative, that is more like connected to a purpose, but they couldn't create a structure, you know, of having their own home, their family, so my question is how to like I see that don't having this basic structure, no, we as a place that people don't like we're not in Europe, no, it's a different a relation with money and social structure that we have, but how we yeah, like how we can make this flame still working inside of us, even if we're not succeeding in this society, you know. And we also like we are in the middle of the process, and we still we're not succeeding in what we realize that it's good, but and we don't want to reproduce what it's there. So like how we can make this keep people motivated to make the change in this context.
How to motivate people to make change? It's a very good question. First of all, you have to be the example. By talking, people will not be inspired. But when they see you as an example of change, like Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change that you want to see in the world. So when we want to motivate other people, how will they be motivated? When they see something that's working and you are living it, you are a gardener, you are a singer, you are a dancer, you are a musician, you are an ecologist, you are an environmentalist, and you live it. You just don't believe it. You just don't have idea. You can write a book about ecology without living ecology. You can write a book about spirituality without living spirituality. So in order to motivate other people, how did Buddha motivate millions of people in his time? How did Mahatma Gandhi motivate hundreds of thousands of people to join the independence movement? How did anybody motivate? When they practice, be example, then people are inspired. How do we motivate Schumacher College? People come, they see the experience that we are living together, we are gardening together, we are cooking together, we are studying together, and we are supporting each other. Then people are motivated. So motivation comes by not words. Words can help, but the real motivation comes when you set the example. So you have to start with yourself and say, I'm going to be the example. I'm going to live my beliefs. Not just talk about them, not just believe them, but live them. When you live, it becomes shining. It becomes kind of alive. Ideas, words, books, they're all kind of icing on the cake. But the real cake is practice. So if you want to motivate other people, you have to show by example, not just ideas. You believe in good ideas. Everyone can believe in good ideas. Everybody believes in love. I mean, I was saying that Christians believe in love. And they say, love your enemy. On Sunday, they go to church for 1 hour. They say, I'm going to love my enemy. And then from Monday to Saturday, they make weapons. They go to war. They criticize other people. Nobody's going to be motivated with that kind of Christianity. And therefore, nobody wants to go to church anymore because that's just hypocrisy. So believing is not enough. You have to practice. And by setting an example, you can motivate other people.
Thank you, Larissa, for your question, and Satish. Aninha?
Olá, bom dia. Satish, eu vou fazer uma fala agora que podia vir do futuro, mas ela está no presente, assim. E eu sinto que toda a minha vivência aqui com a Escola Schumacher nos últimos anos, ela faz parte disso. Você faz parte disso também. Eu sou uma ativista da economia circular, adorei a sua fala de ontem. e em comunidade, junto com outras amigas, também designers, e a gente escreveu um livro infantil para criança. E esse livro é a história de uma menina que conversa com o chão. E essa conversa com o chão começou com as autoras conversando com o chão. A gente teve dinâmicas que a gente criou exatamente por isso, porque a gente percebeu através de uma amiga educadora que ela disse: os adultos não olham para o chão. E a gente fez uma dinâmica que durou muito tempo, assim, muitas semanas de olhar para o chão e de conseguir ter coragem de trazer um livro assim tão, de uma forma tão singela, assim, que traz a economia circular de uma forma muito sutil. E eu sinto que isso é fruto da nossa, né? Eu já estou em muitas pessoas, assim, dessa coletividade mesmo, de estar em comunidade, de aprender junto, de ter coragem de colocar um conteúdo lúdico que, através da arte, consiga também levar mais informação, assim, para mais pessoas. Então, eu queria muito agradecer.
Maravilhosa, Ana, bem fácil agora de... Tô brincando. Muito bom te ouvir. Satish, I'm going to translate what Ana said.
Yes.
Ana is a very dear friend of Escola. She's been with us in many, many courses, and
Yes.
she's a wonderful person from Recife. She has a brilliant,
Yes.
also beautiful accent. So she said she's gonna, it's not actually a question, right? And I don't know if I understood right, but it's more like a sharing of a process. And she said, I could ask this question coming from the future, but I'm in the present, so I'm gonna ask it. Well, not the question, but is what she said. And she said that all her experiences at Escola Schumacher Brasil in the last years have, in a way, inspired her in her work as an activist in the circular economy. So she has an organization that promotes circular economy and works with big organizations and small organizations, trying to bring this awareness about the circular economy, what you spoke a lot about yesterday. And she said that in the last year, she wrote collectively a book that is the story of a girl who talks to the ground, to the soil. And she said that this conversation started with the authors of the book noticing how much people don't look at the ground. And so they started themselves collectively to do this observation themselves before they wrote the book, and that inspired them to write a book for children and for adults, but talking about circular economy using arts and using a very pedagogical, accessible language in a children's world to talk about the importance of looking at the ground and relating to the ground and learning about circular economy. So she said she was very inspired by this to write this book. Ana, I don't know if you have a particular eu não sei se você tem uma pergunta específica que você gostaria de fazer para o Satish. I'm just asking if she has a particular question to you.
Não necessariamente, eu senti de partilhar e dizer o quanto ele é inspirador na minha vida. Vocês daqui da Schumacher também sabem disso, né? O quanto é importante. E saber isso mesmo, que é uma entrega inspirada.
So she said she just wanted basically to share this story and to share how much she's inspired by your work and the work of Escola Schumacher Brasil and Schumacher and everything that she has been experiencing with us throughout the last years.
Yes. Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing. That's wonderful. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. Wonderful.
Obrigada, Ana. Muito bom te ouvir.
Yeah. Okay.
Jessica?
Next question.
Hi, everyone. My partner decided to join. He got really inspired and he has a question.
Okay.
Hello, Satish. It's really an honor to hear you, and it's been really inspiring to hear everything you shared. And there is something that you said yesterday that we have to make the change from the bottom up.
Yeah.
And that was really inspiring for us to hear that, because it's really what we are trying to do in our community, in our work. And sometimes it feels also really discouraging when I see there are other people trying to make a change from the top to the bottom, and they have this influence in much bigger ways than us, because they have power, they control the media, they control the social media platforms, they control all the information that is given to the masses of people. And so it feels that when we do those little changes from the bottom up, one person at a time, it feels that we are almost powerless against those. And so I wanted to see what...
You know, you have to see great examples of people who have brought change from bottom up. All the great changes, real changes, have come from bottom up. For example, Buddha started with four disciples, and now there are millions of Buddhists around the world. Jesus Christ started with 12 people who were his disciples, and now Christianity is everywhere. Mahatma Gandhi started at the bottom up. India is independent. Nelson Mandela started bottom up, and now apartheid has come to an end. Martin Luther King started bottom up, and now racism is less in England, America, and Obama, like a black man, was in the White House. So if you take great examples of real big changes, they have come from the bottom up. And the top-down changes, they come for a short time. Presidents started new rules, or governments or media criticize something, but they don't have a real change in the world. Even computers started bottom up, and now they spread. Anything starts, real change starts from bottom up. Real change does not start from the top down. And the top down change does not last very long. It's a kind of short term. Media, newspapers, government leaders, their changes are very short term. They're very superficial changes. They don't bring a real change of consciousness. The real change of consciousness comes from the people who are working at the bottom up. So look at those examples. The big examples are there for changing. And therefore, the ecology movement started very small, and it has grown now big. Lots of people are the renewable energy. In England, renewable energy started in 1973 with a small center called Center for Alternative Technology. And now 35% of energy is coming from renewable sources like windmills and solar panels. And so that started in a small way in the hills of Wales. And so I think, look at the examples, real examples, big examples, they all started the bottom up. So don't be disappointed, and don't. And the top-down changes are not real changes; they are just very superficial changes. Give me one good example, which was a real change coming from top down. All the presidents, Trump and Biden and Bolsonaro, and all these people start changes. They are superficial. They don't touch human heart, and they are not real. Real change comes from the change of human heart and human consciousness, and that's from the bottom up. A tree starts from the grassroots. You don't start an oak tree or mango tree by top down. You plant a small seed in the soil, and that bottom up, slowly, it becomes a mango tree or an oak tree or an apple tree. It takes time, but it starts from this bottom up. Grassroots is the real change. So please don't be disappointed, and just start whatever you want to start, and have a faith, have a hope, and be the example, and you will be successful.
Thank you, Satish.
I was going to ask you, Satish, related to this question, if you could share briefly the story of your engagement with Vinoba, because I feel when you speak about Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King,
Vinoba
it feels... Yes.
Was a great follower of Mahatma Gandhi. I was a great friend of Mahatma Gandhi. And he was invited to a very strife-driven, conflict-driven location, a district in South India, Telangana, where landlords and landless people were quarreling, fighting, in conflict, killing each other. the landless people were killing the landlords because they were very poor and they had no work and they had no land. And so Vinoba was invited to bring some kind of solution, some kind of resolution, some kind of conflict resolution. And so Vinoba said, all right, I'll come, but I'll walk from my village or my community to your place. I said, but can't wait for fortnight. It will take you fortnight to come. I said, no, you have to wait. I can't fly. I can't take train. I'm going to walk. And he started to walk and everybody waiting for him. And then when he arrived, he went to all the village, house to house, every home he visited, every landlord he visited. I said, how much land do you want? What is your solution? And in the end, he came to the conclusion that if there are 40 families without any land, and if they have land, they will stop conflict and violence, and they will have a livelihood. So in the evening, he called a meeting of the landlords and landless together. And he said, I've been to all these village people, their homes, and I asked them, what is the solution? And the solution is that every family should have 2 acres of land. And there are 40 families. If you have 80 acres, then violence will come to an end, conflict will come to an end, and every person will be happy because they have a land. They can grow food, they can build a house, they can plant trees, they can grow whatever, they can build a well, they can have water, they will have life. Land is given. And there was a stunned silence for a while. And in the end, one landlord was moved by Vinoba's presence and his compassion and his appeal to solve the problem with love and compassion and kindness and a kind of non-violence. So one landlord stood up and he said, I understand, Vinoba, what you are saying. I'm very moved, very inspired by your presence. You have walked all the way from your community for fortnight to come to our village to solve our problem. We are thanking to you. And I would like to donate 100 acres, so 20 acres extra for the common land where people can have a village hall or something like that. And so can you imagine 100 acres was donated on that evening? And there was such a great, inspiring moment. And everybody was so happy. And then Vinoba said, but this is not a problem of one village. We have this problem all over India. At the moment, there is no violence, but there's a tension, there's a kind of poverty and the hunger and the kind of deprivation in the many, many villages of India. So we need to make this example and all over India. And so he started to walk from that village. He did not go back to his community or his home. He started to walk all over India. For 10 years, he walked. 10 years. That's a grassroots. You have to sacrifice yourself. You want to have a change, but no change happens because you are not doing anything. But Vinoba was walking more than 100,000 miles. Can you imagine? Can you walk 100,000 miles for 10 years? And asking landlords to give land in donation. And miracle happened. Every day, every village, every landlord was giving land. 10 acres, 5 acres, 2 acres, 50 acres, 100 acres, whatever. Vinoba said, if you have 5 children, consider me the 6th child of your family, representing the poor. And give me 1/6 of your land for the poor. And he got 4 million acres of land. Can you imagine? Miracle. That's a grassroots movement. One man walking 100,000 miles for 10 years and collecting land from the rich to the poor and donating to the poor. And 4 million acres of land was handed over and distributed to the poor. And that I was part of that movement. I was walking with Vinoba. I left my monk's life to join Vinoba Bhave. So I think grassroots movement had the real power. So don't believe that the top-down change can come real change. Government was trying to change people's heart, but they can't change people's heart. Law cannot change people's heart. If you want to change people's heart, people's consciousness, people's mind, you have to work at the grassroots level. Only way, that is my belief.
Thank you, Satish. Very beautiful story.
Maybe one more question, because it's time to.
Yes,
one more
we
question.
can continue tomorrow.
Yes,
Vivian,
continue
Ricardo.
tomorrow.
Sim.
Yeah.
Letícia.
Last question.
Hi, Satish. Such an honor to be here with you. Thanks for sharing your time and wisdom with such humility and energy with us. It's very inspiring to listen to you. Thanks a lot. So we live in a world with big corporations, and what I would like to ask to you is what role you believe the big corporations can take in this change we need to go forward, thinking about ecological economy and a soil and soul society.
The big corporations have to become smaller, decentralized corporations. When you have centralized corporations, big corporations, they become very bureaucratic and very kind of conventional and very top-down, rules-based, and not so much human spirit and human consciousness and human relationship. It's become very bureaucratic, very rule-bound. And so make your big corporations into smaller, localized, decentralized corporations in each area. Even if you have a big organization, but give more power to your local agents and local representatives. So when there's a much more human connection, human relationship, and people are able to make decisions to suit their local needs and local conditions, then I think corporations can be more human scale and human centered, and they can address the issues of ecology, of spirituality, of art, of culture, of how people will be happy. At the moment, big corporations think that the only way to be happy is to have more money, more housing, more material goods, more shopping. But human happiness does not depend just on shopping and a house and a material possession. Human happiness also relationship of love, of a husband and wife and the children and neighbors, and they're respecting each other, and then having time for music, time for poetry, time for dancing, time for walking, time for the family. If all those things are not there, there's lots of money, and nothing else. So big corporations have to go smaller and give other values than just money and profit and material goods and material possessions. Unless we have a more holistic understanding in our business, we are not going to make people contented or fulfilled or happy or satisfied. And at the moment, contentment is missing. People are not contented. However much you have, it's never enough. You have millions of dollars, it's not enough. You have one house, not enough. Whatever you have, clothes, not enough. This discontentment is the result of these big corporations thinking the only way to make people happy is to give them more material possessions and material goods. And that's not going to make people happy and contented and joyful. So yes, you need to feed people. You need them to have clothes. You need them to have a house. All these things are necessary, but not enough. With the material possessions and material comfort, we also need intellectual and spiritual and emotional well-being. Unless emotional, spiritual, and intellectual well-beings are included in their work, we are not going to make a happy society. And so big corporations are focusing only on the material things and not on the other human needs that which are as essential as material needs. But we are not just body. We don't just need food and clothes and house and cars and computers. We also need relationship. We also need kindness. We need community. We need art, culture, music, and relationship and friendship. And all those values are as important as food and clothes and cars and computers. So big corporations have to incorporate those values in their work. Then they will be successful. So more decentralized and more holistic big corporations can serve humanity better than the way they are doing now. I mean, all these big corporations also produce bad things like McDonald's, Coca-Cola, Kentucky Fried Chicken, all these American big companies going all over the world, Starbucks and so on. They are going all over the world, just making material goods available in a very monotonous way. There's a diversity is missing and the good quality is missing. So quantity and quality must go together. So big corporations have to focus on the quality, but also on the quantity, and the quantity, but also on the quality. Those are two aspects of one reality. But at the moment, corporations are only focusing on the quantity and not on the quality of food or quality of service. So quantity and quality going together can only happen when they are more human scale, more decentralized, and more holistic.
Thanks so much.
Okay.
Thank you, Leticia, and thank you very much,
everybody,
Satish.
for your good questions, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, we'll see you tomorrow with radical love. Thank you, Satish.
Okay.
Have a wonderful day.
Okay. Thank you.